how's it going? Now, this is going to probably piss off a lot of people. And my stance is probably going to piss off a lot of people if people watch this, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But this is the rare case where I think abortion should be legal. Pretty sure a lot of people know about this case. I know others probably don't. I understand Attorney General Paxton is doing here because there's no risk to the mother, but there is risk to the mother to be infertile moving forward, and they want to grow their family. But what am I talking about? Texas Supreme Court pauses lower court allowing woman's abortion. Texas Republican Supreme Court paused lower court's ruling saying the woman the lower court ruling that said a woman could obtain an abortion despite the state's ban. I mean, I think abortions are already safe, as in when you go through the procedure. Texas Supreme Court on Friday night put on hold a judge ruling approving an abortion for a pregnant woman whose fetus had the fatal diagnosis, throwing it into limbo an unprecedented challenge to one of the most restrictive abortion bans in the USA. The order by the all-Republican court came more than 30 hours after Kate Cox, a 31-year-old mother of two in the Dallas area, received a temporary restraining order from the lower court judge that prevents Texas from enforcing the state ban in her case. In a one-page order, the court said it was temporary, staying Thursday's ruling without regards to the merits. The case is still pending. I don't think it's going to be pending for much longer. Well, we hope that the court ultimately rejects the state's request and does so quickly. In this case, we fear that the justice delay would be justice denied, says Molly Duane, an attorney at the Center of Reproduction Rights. I don't think abortion is reproductive rights. You're actually removing the reproduction part of it. But in this case, I think it should be legal. As I'll hopefully it comes clear with this story why I agree with abortion in this particular case. Because attorney said that they will not share her weight. Said Molly, attorney for Richards representing Cox. Cox attorney said that they will not share her abortion plans, citing concerns for her safety. In a filing with the Texas Supreme Court on Friday, her attorney indicated that she was still pregnant. Cox was 20 weeks pregnant this week when she filed what they believed to be the first lawsuit of its kind since the landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling last year that overturned Roe v. Wade. The order issued Thursday only applied to Cox and no other pregnant Texas woman. Cox learned that she was pregnant for the third time in August and was told this week later that her baby was at high risk for a condition of known trisomy 18, which is a very high likelihood of a miscarriage or stillborn and low survival rates, according to her lawsuit. This is where I agree with abortion when there's birth defects that will have lifelong effects on the child, or that the child will not make it past year one, which is 90% of all cases of this birth defects. Furthermore, doctors have told Cox if the baby's heartbeat were to stop, inducing labor would carry a risk to uterine rupture because of the two prior cesarean sections, and that another C-section at a full term would endanger her ability to carry another child. Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton argued that Cox does not meet the criteria of medical exception to the state's abortion, and he urged the state's highest court to act swiftly. Future criminal and civil proceedings cannot restore the life that is lost if the plaintiffs or their agents proceed to perform the procedures of an abortion in violation of Texas law, Paxton office told the court. In this rare case, I'm going to tell Paxton to F off in this particular case. He also warned 3 hospitals in Houston that they could face legal consequences if they allow Cox physicians to provide the abortion, despite ruling from the state district judge Maya Guerrera Gamble, who Paxton claimed is an activist judge. On Friday, the pregnant Kentucky woman also filed a lawsuit demanding that the rights of abortion, the plaintiff identified as Jane Doe, is 8 weeks pregnant, and if she wants to have abortion in Kentucky but cannot legally do so because the state banned, the suit said. Unlike Cox's lawsuit, Kentucky challenges seeks that class action status to include other Kentuckians who are or will become pregnant and want to have an abortion. Just because you want to have an abortion because you don't want to have a healthy baby come to term, that's where I disagree with abortion as health care or reproductive rights. Now, I do think there are some rare cases, like this particular case, where the health of the mother needs to be considered. Even if she wasn't going to be killed, there's going to be health consequences because of her 2 C-sections prior. But we have an update to this terrible saga. Woman to leave Texas for abortion as legal battle drags on. A Texas woman to seek out of state abortion amid the legal battle over whether she's eligible for an exception to the state's abortion ban. The attorney for Kate Cox, a pregnant Texas woman who's seeking an abortion, for Texas officials say it would be illegal, says Cox is fleeing the state to have a procedure. The state official claims that Cox is unable to have access to abortion because they say her life is not at risk, but Cox says carrying her fetus to full term will compromise her ability to have future children. Her fetus has a genetic condition known as trisomy 18, which makes the baby's likelihood to die in the womb or live for a week at most after birth. Continuing the pregnancy also puts Cox's life at risk from complications, including a ruptured uterus. And the lawsuit states after the lower court ruled that Cox have the abortion, the state filed an appeal which prompted the state Supreme Court to intercede, saying more time is needed before settling the case. But on Monday, her attorneys released a statement saying that the legal battle has dragged on to the point where she needs to leave Texas to seek care. Let's hear blah, 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 blah. Let's hear. That's not really important. Dwayne says Cox's case is evidence that the exceptions made in Texas abortion ban are largely not real. The state has exceptions in case of rape and incest, in addition, where the life of the mother is at risk. Those exceptions do not exist in practice, and this is just one of many examples of why that is true, because if Kate doesn't qualify for emergency abortion, then I don't know who does, Dwayne said. Texas Attorney Ken Paxton said the doctor who provides Cox with an abortion will be subject to a $100,000 fine. Paxton said in the court filing that Cox has been unable to prove her condition is life-threatening. You little piece of fucking shit, Paxton. Do you not understand birth defects? I am sorry. It says this is an exception which should be qualified because of the baby's condition. He's just being petty at this point. Dwayne says it's been a difficult time for Cox after finding out the fetus that she's been carrying will not survive long after birth. I will say that it's been a very trying time for her. Dwayne says she and her family are experiencing the loss of a child. They have 2 young children. Now they have desperately want to grow their family, but they recognize that this pregnancy is not going to be what will allow their children to have another sibling, and they want to be able to try again. Dwayne said the decision for the abortion should ultimately rest with the women and not politicians. I don't think it should rest with just the woman. And if there's no birth defects and it's outside the first trimester, then there should be limits placed onto it. And this is one of those exceptions that I could stand behind. But let's see here. We're just going to go ahead and search for it. Let's see, we'll just go to Wikipedia. I know it's not the best source to have on it. Let's see here. Trisomy 18, also known as Edwards syndrome, is a genetic disorder caused by the presence of a third copy of all parts of the chromosomes 18. Many parts of the body are affected. Babies are often born small and have heart defects. Other features include small head, small jaw, clenched fists, and overlapping fingers, and severe intellectual disability. Most cases of trisomia occur due to problems during the formation of the reproduction cells or early developments. The chance of the conditions increases with the mother's age. Rarely, cases are inherited. Occasionally, not all the cells have extra chromosomes, known as mosaic trimestry, and symptoms of these cases may be less severe. An ultrasound during the pregnancy can increase suspicion for the condition, which can be confirmed by a aminocercian, whatever that is. Treatment is supportive. After having one child with the condition, the risk of having a second child is typically around 1%. The second most common condition due to a third chromosome at birth. After Down syndrome for the third chromosome 21, trisomia occurred around in 1 in 5,000 live births. Many of those affected died before birth. Some studies suggest that more babies that survive to birth are female. Survival beyond a year life is around 5 to 10%. It's named after the English geneticist John Hilton Everett, who first described the syndrome back in 1960. So even if they wanted the child is going to be on borrowed time, and it's best to get the loss over with now. And this is where I think my wonderful Attorney General Ken Paxton is wrong. You are making the family suffer all for ideology and over Christian values that every child deserves to live and every child deserves to be born, even if there's a small case that will be able to survive. This is a birth defect, and the conditions around it will make it unlikely for it to survive more than, at the most, a couple years. You're just prolonging the grieving of it. And this is where I think he's wrong. Now, he may have a lot of good cases. He may have a lot of good cases against abortion. This is just not one of them. I think this is just cruel punishment for this family to endure this. You're telling them that they can't have an abortion when they have a birth defect of a child that's not going to survive. I think this should be under the exceptions. And while I don't necessarily agree with the hyperbolic response to what they said, where if she can't get one, then no one could get one. I do think this is not a decision that this lady took lightly. I think this is a decision that's best for her, knowing that there's a birth defect. With that being said, that is my video for today. Leave a comment down below if you agree with me, disagree with me, or do you agree with the Attorney General, disagree with the Attorney General? I disagree with the Attorney General. I think this act right here is not a good act on Attorney General Paxton. I think he could do a lot of good. I think he should have let this one stayed and went on with more egregious cases. I don't know. I feel sorry for for this lady because she's suffering. Not only is she suffering because the loss of a potential child, which has a birth defect, knowing that it won't survive even in her womb, and add insult to injury, Texas is saying you can't have an abortion because your life is not at risk. I think that's cruel. I think this is not a good look for our Attorney General. Like I said, leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.